An 8-month-old baby is dead. How? From scalding hot bath water? And the person accused? His own mother. Police say a 21-year-old woman's frustration over a soiled diaper allegedly turned into a moment of fatal cruelty. The baby suffered thermal injuries so severe he didn't survive. Now, that mother is wanted, and a community is trying to make sense of a tragedy that shows the horrifying results of unchecked anger. In the quiet Texarkana area of Texas, a truly grim story is unfolding. Authorities are urgently searching for 21-year-old Jatoria Renae, accused of causing the death of her infant son. Courtlyn, what allegedly started as a moment of anger over a common parenting challenge diaper duties. In a moment of rage, Cleamons reportedly placed her son into a tub of scalding hot bath water. The baby's delicate skin, no match for the heat, sustained horrific thermal injuries, and after struggling for nearly 2 weeks, little Courtlyn's body gave out. He was gone. The act, described as spontaneous and impulsive, has now turned into a full-blown homicide case. The charges? Injury to a child and manslaughter. The nightmare began in Texarkana, where Cleamons was living at the time. According to her alleged confession to police, the trigger was something tragically mundane. Courtlyn had soiled his diaper. What should have been a moment of care turned, police say, into a catastrophic act of violence. Investigators claim that Cleamons admitted she was overwhelmed and angry. In her frustration, she placed her baby into a bathtub filled with dangerously hot water. At just 8 months old, Courtlyn couldn't cry out in protest or understand what was happening. His body absorbed the damage, and his life began to unravel from that moment forward. Babies are extremely vulnerable to burns. Their skin is thinner, more sensitive, and more prone to severe damage in just seconds. What an adult might consider hot but tolerable can be lethal to an infant. Within seconds, skin can blister, tissue can be destroyed, and infection can set in. These weren't minor injuries. According to reports, Courtlyn's burns were extensive, and his suffering continued for days. Whether he was given medical attention during that time is unclear, but what is clear is that the scalding left him in a critical state. Roughly 2 weeks later, on February 4, 2025, the tragic final chapter of this story unfolded in Hooks, Texas, a small town not far from Texarkana. Cleamons was reportedly staying with relatives on Kennedy Circle. When emergency services were called to the home, first responders arrived to a horrifying scene. The baby wasn't breathing. Cleamons was already administering CPR, desperately trying to revive the child. Despite their efforts, 8-month-old Courtlyn was pronounced dead at the scene. He was born on June 13, 2024. He died on February 4, 2025, barely 8 months old. The emotional weight of this tragedy sent shockwaves through the small Texas communities. An online obituary described Courtlyn as a joyful baby who brought light to those around him. But that light was extinguished in what investigators say was a moment of frustration that turned deadly. The house where he died, once a relative's home offering temporary refuge, became the final stop in a life cut tragically short. An autopsy was ordered by Justice of the Peace, J1. Courtlyn's small body was transported to the Southwest Institute of Forensics for examination. What the forensic pathologist discovered confirmed everyone's worst fears. The baby had died from thermal injuries, and the official manner of death was listed as homicide. It was now beyond a tragic accident. This was a criminal act. That autopsy report launched a full investigation involving multiple law enforcement agencies. Because the scalding allegedly happened in Texarkana and the death occurred in Hooks, police from both cities, the Bowie County Sheriff's Office, and the District Attorney's Office began working together. It was during this investigation that Cleamons allegedly admitted to what she had done. According to police, she told them that she deplaced her son in scalding hot water out of frustration because of a soiled diaper. Investigators searched for evidence to support the confession, likely examining the bathroom where the incident occurred, interviewing relatives and neighbors, checking for medical records, and reviewing any social media activity that might provide insight into Cleamons' state of mind. What stood out, and what will likely be used in court, were her public Facebook posts after Courtlyn's death, posts that expressed heartbreak and sorrow. One message reportedly read, "Rest in love, my baby. I love you so much and I miss you so much. My heart is so broken. Rest in heaven, my love." These words now appear in stark contrast to her alleged role in his death. On June 13, 2025, for months after Courtlyn's death, arrest warrants were issued for you. She was officially charged with injury to a child and manslaughter to serious felonies under Texas law. Injury to a child can carry severe penalties depending on intent and outcome. When it results in death, it can be a first-degree felony, punishable by up to life in prison. Manslaughter, classified as a second-degree felony, can bring to 20 years behind bars. Both charges speak to the state's belief that her actions, though perhaps not premeditated, were recklessly dangerous and ultimately fatal. But as of now, Cleamons is not in custody. The young mother is wanted, and law enforcement has made a public plea for help. If she is actively evading arrest, her legal situation will only worsen. A fugitive charge could be added, and it raises even more questions about accountability and justice in this heartbreaking case. Courtlyn's death is not just a single tragic incident. It reflects a broader issue: child abuse by caregivers, often triggered by frustration and a lack of support. Parenting, especially for young and possibly overwhelmed mothers, is incredibly difficult. But when frustration is allowed to fester without healthy outlets or support systems, it can become deadly. Scalding is a particularly cruel form of child abuse, quick, damaging, and often fatal. The fact that Courtlyn lived for 2 weeks in pain before dying makes this case all the more haunting. This story forces us to look at how we protect children and how we support their caregivers. Better access to mental health services, parenting resources, and crisis intervention could help prevent tragedies like this. While nothing will bring Courtlyn back, the pursuit of justice might at least provide some measure of accountability. Authorities are still actively searching for her baby boy. Courtlyn will never get a chance to grow up, to speak his first words, or take his first steps. His life was stolen before it really began. The system now turns its attention to finding the person accused of ending it, and making sure the truth sees the light of day.